Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. This is going to be a little bit of a futuristic, dreamy kind of video. There's people that are already going to see the title of the video and just either not watch it or already leaving a comment basically saying that I'm wrong or something like that. But there's a good number of people out there that don't believe the match that's going to happen at WrestleMania 32 in the Hell in the Cell is going to be Undertaker versus Shane McMahon. I knew that when I made my video about Shane McMahon returning, I talked about the chances of Shane getting replaced. Whether if that was for Vince McMahon trying to make his odds better, thinking that Shane McMahon would quit and give up and not want to have the match against The Undertaker because he was hurt if he was shoved down a staircase by a wrestler, or if he was manhandled by Brock Lesnar, or something like that, something that would come in and just sort of take Shane out of the match and be replaced by another wrestler. And the big rumor was that he would be replaced by John Cena, and that Shane McMahon was just a placeholder to get everybody excited for WrestleMania. Because definitely, if you think about when Shane returned, there was an excitement about WrestleMania. I was excited about going on the trip. I was excited about going to hang out with my friends, and I was excited to see a lot of the events that were down there, besides for WrestleMania. But when Shane came back, my excitement went through the roof, and I actually was excited about WrestleMania itself for the first time. And, one of the matches that would have done it for me was Undertaker versus Cena. But, of course, Cena is, rehabilitating his shoulder from the surgery that he had. And, of course, even if he is able to return for WrestleMania, it really would be pushing it. I think that WWE really hit a gold mine. They really struck gold. And this is something way out of left field. I mean, if you were to ask anybody a week before Shane McMahon's return, they would have told you anything to turn around WrestleMania. They would have picked 1,000 different things, and they wouldn't have picked Shane McMahon returning. I think this is something that nobody thought was ever going to happen. And nobody really knows if this was a short-term thing or if this is a long-term thing. It's kind of funny to think about Shane McMahon returning with like an Eric Bischoff like deal, where Bischoff was the head of WCW. He was the president of the company, and now he comes to WWE and he's just an entertainer. He doesn't have anything for creative. He doesn't have anything to do with any part of the company other than come in, read your lines, and get out. And that's honestly just about that. I mean, Eric Bischoff, he worked a couple matches. He worked one against Shane McMahon back in the day. But I don't know. As of right now, I mean, Shane McMahon is putting up these videos on YouTube, and people are really, I think people are sort of overreacting to these. Because of the fact that people are like, oh, he's working out, so now he has to have the match. I think this really could go either way. I mean, this match, in my opinion, is going to turn into a huge just swarm with everybody coming into this match. I wouldn't be surprised if the Mean Street Posse, John Cena, the members of the corporate ministry, that they can get to come back. People look at last year's WrestleMania, the match between Sting and Triple H. I thought that was going to be a really good wrestling match, and that ended up just being a cartoon affair. But it was awesome. The return of DX, the return of the NWO fighting DX, the war that we've been waiting for since 1996, 1997, finally getting to actually see a payoff to all of that. That was really fun, and I think WWE is going to take that sort of, template and work it on this match. For all we know, Shane works out like this all the time. I mean, Shane is a guy who's got money. I'm sure that he has some sort of a trainer. If you look at Stephanie, if you look at Triple H, if you look at Vince McMahon, they have late night, early morning workouts where they get their thing in. I'm sure, Vince push this through to Shane. I mean, Shane might not be a bodybuilder, but, I've heard stories from listening to MLW Radio with Court Bauer about how big of a guy, Shane McMahon was, and how this guy really is a tough guy. He honestly thought about going into UFC at one time, where I think Ken Shamrock is the guy who actually talked him out of it. Who knows how the hell, that would have worked out for. But, I mean, Shane is a tough guy who's got some guts. We've seen him jump off the Titantron. We've seen him fall off the Titantron. We've seen him get his nuts shocked. We've seen him get thrown through a window, even when it didn't break the first time. And it didn't work the second time, still throwing him through it. And then when he tried to go back through the other way, and it didn't work the first time, making sure that it went the second time. Those bumps that came in the ring were just out of the world. And when, Kurt Angle says that I didn't know if Shane was knocked out, that's the truth, man. I watched that match back last week, and I just honestly couldn't believe it. Last night I watched the WrestleMania 15 match against X-Pac on that Shane McMahon collection, and I mean, Shane wasn't a good wrestler, but he's very entertaining. And I think that when he gets into there, it's going to be a good one. As of right now, I don't think, even if I think that they were thinking of doing it, I don't think they're going to replace Undertaker, or I guess they're not going to replace Shane with Cena. Cena's probably going to be at WrestleMania. Cena's probably going to do something because Cena is Cena, and he might not be 100% ready to go. But when you hit gold like you did with Shane and his return and people getting fired up for WrestleMania and wanting to see what's going to happen, I think you stick with it. And even if the plan was to replace him, you got to keep going.